Hey everyone, we are finally all back together, back in our studio. We are so excited because before we even get into what everyone has been up to, we just want to say that we finally have our first ever sponsor of the What the Flag podcast. We're so excited. Big shout out to MVP Travel. They are a company that we've been able to kind of know for a few years now, family run and operated, but for all your travel and sports needs. So you can check out mvptravel.co.uk. Also check out their touchdown trips for specific American football trips. So we are super hyped for that. Talking about American football and this time of year, we've just kind of had the cuts on Tuesday, where the NFL rosters go down to 53. There's been some sadness amongst the world of tackle football in the UK in particular.
You were laughing.
No.
That was a laugh that happened.
He laughed.
It's like in Kevin Hart when they're doing that, like, damn.
That's
what I felt.
Some sadness.
Yeah. Yasmin. GB. GB.
True, government name.
I did.
Jeez.
GB lost in overtime 3-6 versus Finland at home. Just give us a little summary.
It says everything you need to know when one of my coaches from the Divas messaged me and was like, were you guys playing soccer or were you playing American football? I went, wow, I said the same thing. Yeah, a weekend. I didn't go to Carnival and I lost the game. So really it was lose-lose.
And you didn't go Carnival?
No, didn't go to Carnival.
Why didn't
Everyone
you go
else
Carnival?
did.
Because it was on Carnival Sunday.
Oh, you don't go to Carnival on Monday?
It's just not as good on Monday.
It's not good on Monday. Fair.
No.
Fair. Okay,
Monday,
okay.
everyone gets a bit wild.
Yeah,
On
yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
people behave.
It's nice and
Ish.
yeah,
Yeah.
family focused. Okay,
No, that's the idea anyway. We went to overtime in...
So just this is women's tackle European Championships.
Yep.
GB against Finland.
GB against Finland. We haven't lost to Finland since I've been on the programme. We haven't lost to Finland. We
Since
won
the Euros in 2016.
Yes. So we won in the 2019. I can't remember what the score was. We didn't win enough to beat Sweden, but we beat them. And then we obviously beat them last year in the European Champions. In
the previous.
And now we're in another Euros. Yeah, and we lost in overtime. So it was 0-0. We just couldn't, I don't know what it was. We just couldn't get our offense off the ground.
How was it as a game for you, personally? Like,
do you want the honest answer?
honest answer, yeah. And there's no I in team, I know that, but how did you feel you did? It's not necessarily that you have to throw shade at anyone or anything. Just how was the game for you?
It was okay. I
Okay.
did my job. I can't say I went above and beyond.
Oh.
I did my job. That was it. They were playing with a very different team. I would argue that there were some members of their team that maybe weren't as physical as they have been in previous years. I think they definitely had
the Finnish players you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they've definitely had better players that I played against.
I think we're going to come on to that later. So you're saying the Finnish team now is maybe not as good as previous iterations of the...
Not as good. They've obviously just gone through a lot of adjustments like we have.
Okay.
And I think at the moment, money is a huge factor for everyone that is still competing in tackle. So I think they had to do the best with what they had, and that meant that they had a lot of positional changes. So some of their best D-line were playing O-line and not playing both ways. So there was some of their O-line that had moved over to D-line. Then there's some of their players that are rookies that I haven't seen them play, even on the Maple League rosters. I haven't seen those guys play. So I think some of them must have come up from their Sevens league to play in their national team, which obviously, again, is very, very different. But I mean, physicality-wise, their nose was pretty good. Their tackle was okay. But on the end, it wasn't anything we hadn't seen before. I think it was just for both sides of the team that both teams weren't meshing. They're not the teams that we've played with previously, or maybe they're not the players or playing in the same spots they played with previously. So during the game, neither team could really find a rhythm. And it just so happened that because we went to overtime, it's kind of a bit like a penalty shootout where you start on the 25, you just go in. So it was just who can use their force basically. And Finland have the advantage of having a very well drilled O-line, and a very good running back. Like, she's literally a bulldozer. She's probably easily one of the best in the world, who just runs up the middle, and that was how they won it. And we couldn't get that going, and I don't know why, but we couldn't score when we should have scored. So we went for the field goal. Obviously, if you're going for the field goal, now you're just praying that the other team don't score.
But they go to 4-down football.
Exactly.
If they want to, yeah.
Exactly, because if you scored, obviously you don't kick the extra point, I don't believe. Like, I don't think you do. You score, fabulous, and then they score, then you get another try. But obviously, if they just win outright, they win outright. So, nah.
Do you think that overtime format favours offense? Like, so some teams will be more stronger on offense than defense, and vice versa. Do you think that overtime format favours one or the other?
Massively favours offense. You're 25 and in. Like,
and it's still the football 10. 4 downs, 10 yards.
Absolutely, but if your team, if your offense manages to drive it 15 yards first play, your defense is now basically in the end zone trying to stop you. If it was. I feel like it should just be full, like another 10 minutes of playing. Like, each one has an opportunity to score. Okay. If you don't get your 4 downs and, get your 10 yards, then you swap over. I just feel you have a better advantage that way. Maybe you wouldn't necessarily start with a kickoff or a kick return, but you could start on, their 20-yard line.
Like a touchback from kickoff,
just to give, I guess, a bit more momentum. And I also feel we had the disadvantage of never being in overtime before. So actually, it got to the point where a lot of people were like, wait, what's happening? I don't know if I've ever done this. Because the refs even explained it to me when I had to go back on the field. I was like, I know how it works. I watch college ball, like, fine. Okay. But not everyone does. So not everyone would know what the overtime rules are.
Do you think they'd practiced or been in overtime before?
I think they have. I'm sure they had overtime last season. I can't remember against what team, but I know Finland have definitely done overtime before. We haven't. We've always just either won and or lost within regulation time. So, but moving swiftly on.
But similar in flag football. So you have to go do your coin toss, decide who goes on offense or defense, and it's always offensively based. You can go for 1 from the 5 or 2 for the 10. So, but flag in mind, we were out in Dublin and you ran as on brand your Heir to the Throne camp.
Shout out Tees Caribbean as well.
Yeah.
For the embroidered t-shirts. Yes, had a great morning on the Saturday, the college football classic with the guys out in Dublin. Thanks to American Football Ireland and to the South Dublin Panthers who hosted the event. I think we had 25 people, I want to say, maybe 25 people come out. Weather was unruly at best, but actually towards the back end of it, it was actually fine. And it was a great day. They were so ready and willing to learn and take on some of my crazy new ideas and stuff as we went through. But yeah, it was just a really good day, a really good part of what was a full weekend of activities from your end.
Yeah, we did a show Wednesday night in Belfast, and we had some of the Belfast Trojans flag players come join us and talk a little bit about the Shamrock Bowl. Thursday was similar. We did one at J.R. Mahone's, and we had Megan, captain of the Irish flag football team, and Mariah Eccles, captain of the men's Irish flag football team, can join us as well. And then just all things college football, the gift games, which are great, where you've got high school players that come over, different high school teams across the states, usually from the location of where the 2 college teams are from. They brought rugby players over, field hockey, again, so you have this real kind of cross connection. And then, of course, game day was fantastic. So, yeah, it was lots of football.
Busy.
Absolutely. But getting into everything, we've got so much football ahead of us right now in terms of flag football. Panama have finally just announced their location, which is in, and I'm going to get this so wrong, Penonome, which is September 12th through 14th. You've got the Youth Euros coming up in Innsbruck in Austria. You've got adults, Europeans, which is the end of September, and then Oceania, Asia. So much lined up for us. I want to kind of talk about the youth. I don't think we necessarily talk enough about them. and I want to go straight to you, Kenny, because a lot of people don't actually know that you're involved with the Swiss national program from a youth perspective.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
I posted a picture on Instagram with a Swiss bag with my bag, and people were like, someone asked me if I was playing for like Team Swiss as we go through. But
should have just run with it. Yeah.
I should. As you do.
Starting QB.
Third nationality. Oh, I wish. No, but yes, I am head coach currently of the Swiss youth program. So it's all there. From under 21s all the way down to U15.
Mr. International.
I know, trying.
Mr. Worldwide.
Which is, it's really good. I initially joined the program as more of a consultant than, which is more what I do day to day. But circumstances and things happen, and actually end up now in a head coaching role. It's a bit more hands off, I think, than my offensive coordinator role with Team Spain, but anytime I get to work with any program that's in terms of helping to drive and put things in place to make sure that growth and development happens over, it's never immediate. It's something, it takes time. It will take time to see those improvements start to tick in. But working with coach development, but also trying to work in and around the program so that we start to raise the levels, raise expectations. But also raise awareness, because I think that's a lot of the problem. I think you mentioned money being, for in terms of the teams, international play, travel, etc. I think that's a problem all over. I don't think anyone's got it sorted yet, where they have millions and millions to work with. But no, it's really good. It's a really good opportunity, a really good experience to go out to Zurich every so often, once a month, once every 2 months or so.
Nice.
Kids are great. The coaching staff are amazing. But it's, again, just getting to work to build the program, and it's going well. I'm optimistic for the European Championships in Innsbruck.
And what would you say is the main difference between your role with Spain and your role with Swiss team?
Nice. Do you know, really and truly, because of where flag is, you still end up rolling up your sleeves and doing whatever needs doing. So whether it's the odd bit of social media here and there, or helping with admin and organization, but mainly with Team Spain, it's very much like I'm calling plays, we're working on the play, so it's about scheme, it's about technique, it's about making sure the players on offense have everything they need. And I said it to my group of coaches that we work with in our evenings. I said to them, I want to really play a style of football that people want to come and watch. So, I'm not going to talk about medals and gold, silver, like nothing like that. But if we can play an exciting style of football, something that people are, fans want to come and see, and have lots of people around the field when we play, that will be amazing. But that's quite X's and O's. That's quite understanding styles of play as we go through. With the Swiss, I helicopter up a bit more. So it's actually me working with the lead coaches of each of the youth teams to say, okay, it's your playbook, it's your system of playing. How does it work? How can I help you build that, grow that, etc. as you go through? So one's a lot more hands-on, Team Spain, and then Swiss is a bit more helicoptered out.
So it made me think, because we had this conversation when we were away in China. So Patrick Alley, who I think I've known for years and years now, has always been involved in flag. He's currently one of the Team USA men's coaches. Now he's also coaching Team China's women's flag team. So because for some people, it's an issue, right?
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts, I guess both of your thoughts on coaching for another country, albeit a different gender? Does anyone have an opinion?
So when I first started the role with Team Spain, I was head coach of the GB youth program at the time, and
that felt like an issue, though.
It wasn't 100%. I had conversations with members of the board who were like, the comment at the time was something to the tone of, this is not a joke. Like it's not a. You're almost like I was doing it as a plaything, and I think with a high degree of integrity, I think you can manage it, which I would like to say that I have, but it's making sure you give your best in every situation, right? And if this situation today means I'm working with the Spanish women's team and that's what I give my attention to, that's fine. And if I'm able to then also, in the right spaces, give my attention to the Swiss youth team or whatever it may be, then, I don't see an issue with that. And gently, like, I think success is the proof in the pudding, and success is, again, it's not necessarily medals, although with Team GB in 2 years, a gold medal, a silver and a bronze across the 3 youth teams that we took to competitions. Team Spain, the first year I was with them, our goal was to qualify for the World Games. Mm-hmm. And we did, and we achieved it. But I'm saying, like, so if I'm able to do that and you can see that it's working, I don't see a problem with it. And I think also because in my other roles, I work with so many different coaches from so many different nations, it would be weird to be like, oh no, you must only be for one country. I don't know.
I mean, because what if you coach for Queen Mary? Mm-hmm. What if I can't think of a single university right now?
Brunel.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Cambridge, Oxford, whatever. What if they recruited you? Do you feel like there's a conflict of interest there? What are your thoughts?
I personally think there's only a conflict of interest if the teams play in the same league and or like division. I think if I was coaching for QM and then I decided that I was going to go and coach for, let's say, Hertfordshire because they're in the Prem, I wouldn't think there was a conflict of interest if you're doing it with the team in mind, so you're doing it with the intention of bettering them and helping them achieve their goals as opposed to taking down someone else. And if they don't play against each other, there isn't really a conflict of interest. If you're coaching a Prem team, then they're only going to play Prem teams. Yeah. If you're coaching a Div 2 team, they're only going to play Div 2 teams. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I guess there could be conflict, if there's a relegation and then, they end up in the same division. And I think at that point, it's your time as a coach to make the decision as to what you feel is best and how you feel is best to navigate that situation. But I think as long as there isn't a direct conflict of interest, I think as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, then it's fine to do. Like,
I think another huge part of this is the fact of limited coaching expertise. Yeah. Right. So if you have, it's a case where and I'm not. We're not naming any names or anything, but there aren't enough coaches who know enough, whether it's flag or tackle. So you are an expert, I would say, in O-line play. If you could help, as you said, like Brunel, Queen Mary's, Hearts. And with there not being a conflict, but actually helping their coaches to get better, helping their players together, why would you not do it?
I think the biggest thing is around communication. And I think you've been a really good example of that, whether it is with GB or Spain, Switzerland, being super clear with, hey, this is what I'm doing. These are the people that I'm working with. I think perhaps that doesn't always happen in that same way. People just go off and then work with another team because you're right, there's just not enough quality coaches out there. I mean, I think about how many camps and clinics and people we interact with. It's not necessarily scheme play. You're still teaching them just fundamentals at the end of the day. And yes, every coach will have their different idea of what fundamentals should be, but I still think it's too small of a pool still to be completely shutting the doors for a lot of people.
Agreed.
So kind of a question on that then, should you, because I was born in Nigeria, right? And I would still...
What?
He's never mentioned this before. He's never ever said
Did you know
once.
That?
This is wild.
This
Just in case you
breaking
didn't
news.
know Team Nigeria,
Breaking news.
Kenny is available for the Olympics.
Point being that I think, what do you say to people who are like, you should only play / no, playing is probably a bit of an easier question, but only coaching for your nationality? Yes, no, maybe so.
I don't think it grows the game.
I disagree.
You think it?
I do not think it grows the game.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Because then, what if a team doesn't have those resources? How would you ever grow that team or
So you need to come out.
like create those amazing coaches or train those coaches if you're just like, okay, well, you have to stay with your team, I have to stay with my team, that's it. Because then you're going to have one country that's going to have 20 million coaches, another
doesn't have any.
team, America.
Flip to the other side of the coin, organizations that insist on only hiring coaches from within.
Are there organizations that do that?
Maybe not openly.
HR?
Maybe not. Maybe not. But there would be.
It's like the GFL, right? Where you can bring in Americans to play, but you can only have 2 Americans on the field at any one point. You've brought people in to help strengthen, but your key points are that you're developing those within that area, country, whatever that looks like. So I can see that element of it where I don't think your entire coaching staff, so I can use us from an example of GB. We've got a head coach from the US. We've got a DC from Panama. Our assistant is Scotland. I think that's important to have.
I think that's great. I think
Coach Paul's from Australia. We just keep naming people. So I do think it's really important. I do think that it's only going to help the learning because that's what this is about. It's all about sharing resources and sharing information.
I think it's going to keep coming back because of the Olympics and we're going to keep coming back to this same issue of where do you get the people from?
Which we'll have a great conversation about in a little bit on loyalty. So make sure you stay tuned because up next we've got our 2-minute quote.
So just a super quick, short segue, think tank type deal. One of the issues we will always come around is there's more and more people joining the sport, more and more people joining elite programs, elite teams, etc. Like, how do we, in our different roles, coach, player, whatever, how do we help those, they're not always younger necessarily, but like inexperienced, how do we help get them to where they need to get to, like raise the standard, raise the level? Just like one quick thought.
I guess it's about exposure. The problem is it's finding that exposure. I think to be great, you kind of have to be exposed to greatness, but you've got to find it first. I think we're at a really weird transition stage where a lot of sports, like finding the really elite players is getting harder because so many new people are entering the sport. And because so many new people are entering, you've got people that are retiring, leaving. So then how do we get them to give back to programs? How do we get them to give back to players? I think it's a question that I think will constantly be asked because I don't really think there's a great answer to it at the moment. I think the same is in coaching. Like, you are a great coach and you may be ready to hang up your clipboard, but equally, how do you then give back to the coaches that are just coming through? Because a lot of them are just going from their own experience as a player or their own experience watching the game. They don't necessarily have the tools to coach yet, just like the players don't necessarily have the tools to play. They're just kind of feathering in the dark until they find it.
Yeah, I really like that because I think there's a part of it where we've relied for too long on players and coaches being ready-made or like just like, yeah, cool, like this is a good coach because of, like you said, their own experiences. This is a good player because of they might have done other sports before or whatever. And I think there needs to be a kind of like such a deep commitment to developing and actually being the ones to grow those players. So, to start off with, you mentioned like, is it manufacturing those situations where they can be exposed to greatness? What does that mean? Is it exposing them to like current players, former players, coaches, etc.? I think it's going to be that commitment to developing it rather than trying to find stuff that's already made.
I think there's no structure to it either. Like, you can kind of just join, whether it's coaching or playing, you can kind of just join at any level. There's no like targets that you have to hit before being able to do certain things. I think a lot of it is down to subjectivity, like whether a coach thinks you're ready, whether you think you're ready, whether another player has recommended you or another coach has put in a good word for you. I think there's no real structure to it. I think maybe once a structure is developed, it will be easier. So you sort of like climb the ladder of playing, climb the ladder of coaching. But then it's like, what are your goalposts? What are people aiming to get to? Because equally, you don't always respect coaches or players because they're able to tick off the same things. So then do you make 3 or 4 different checklists that they all have to adhere to?
And just make sure that we stay tuned. 2-minute halftime over. We're back in play. All right, we're back on What the Flag. I am going to age myself a little bit here because Facebook keeps suggesting to me those then and now photos. And then showing up from my 2015, 2016 and beyond playing days with tackle, some of the flag stuff, and then the now situation. I just retired a year ago from playing tackle. But I think about the team that was then, and I think about perhaps a team that is now, whether that's tackle or flag. And I think the way that we see those teams of the past, or as participants or coaches within those teams, I think that we have very different ideas of what greatness feels like. Now, it might be a little bit more fresh for you, Yaz, but what are your thoughts around, I guess, kind of Team GB that you played with in the past and currently now? Not having to say anything like negative, it's just understanding how we process stuff. People would say maybe the old Team GB tackle was better than Team GB now.
Yeah.
For flag, I would say old Team GB flag isn't as good as it is now, although I would caveat that and say Britt Bottrell is missing, and she adds a different flavor to Jess Allen, but they both are really good.
I would say each team has had like a different vibe. The first team I joined was in the 2018-2019 cycle. And I was very much a rookie then, but everyone had a lot more of a bond. They'd been playing for a lot longer. The players generally were a lot older when I joined as well. So I was very much the baby of the team, whereas now I'm the old one. So, I guess what their perception of the team would be very different to what my perception of the team was. Back then I felt it was really competitive. I was the youngest and had like the least knowledge. So for me, it was a big sort of mountain to climb, like big shoes to fill. Then we get to sort of world cycle. I would personally say that was peak GB. Yeah. We were just so cohesive. Like there's still some bits of film that you watch where everyone is just doing the correct thing. Like those blocks were, just finished just on that last echo of the whistle. Like everyone had that real sort of aggression, that grit. And I think that's invaluable in a team, especially when you're playing contact sport. I would say now we're very much a process team. Like we've got a lot more players that are rookies, the players that are younger, players that maybe haven't been playing as long or haven't had that exposure to 11s. So we've got a lot more of a development process sort of taking place, like just exposing them to the game, just exposing them to international play in general if they haven't had that before. I would say every team has had a very different direction, and I think
it's that thing, isn't it? Where like, so all of my playing career, right? We always had coaches, tackle or flag, coaches who would always be like, back in my day, it used to be like this or that, or like, we were better. You would never, that could never have worked when I was playing it, and that's where always gently, the older folk are always like, it was better in our time. So I think it's interesting because like some of the stuff you said, obviously when you start green, young, don't know very much, as you transition through your playing career and transition into coaching, again, it's the same for you because you've retired from tackle now. Do you look at who's there now and be like, you guys wouldn't have cut it back in our day? Or,
No comment.
I think that's what, you look at NFL players, they say that all the time, like how they used to train was super different. I think that there's an element when you have success, and this goes for flag, tackle, whatever, any sport, it doesn't even matter. I think there's an element when you have success and you come in, perhaps you're a rookie in those experiences, then all you know is success. And so sometimes a sense of entitlement comes along with that as well. And I think that there's an element where you've got to learn to lose. You've got to go through those hardships to appreciate what it feels like at the top. If you're forever a champion or silver, bronze medalist in something, then that's what your expectation is as well.
Yes.
And so I think there's so many more lessons you learn from losing, failing perhaps even, you know, getting kind of sat down or, you know, I think even that, again, like we look at flag, we're going to learn way more from GB losing to Austria than we are from winning against, you know, any of the other teams, winning at the Euros a couple years ago or winning against Italy. I think it's a really important life lesson ultimately.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting because conversely, I think in my experience, especially coaching a lot of the younger guys, I will say, is there's very much, it's not just a sense, they say it to my face like, coach, you can't cover me, or coach, like I could cover you, like, you know, when you at your prime, coach, I'm better than you were. And it's like, I don't think so. But it's that same notion of like, I think time changes perspectives, perhaps, and you know, rules change and the game changes, the understanding and the coaching around it all changes. But it's always you get the same argument in the Premiership and NBA and like Michael Jordan versus like LeBron James. Like
Always a conversation.
They're so, you know,
basketball again,
different.
Kenny.
That's my go-to. I said Premiership first, but no. But I think it's just always interesting to. I would love to see for example, like GB men's flag 2015 versus 2025, and like who would win.
Talking about when you were playing for GB men's flag, just
absolutely.
for clarity for our audience.
European Finals MVP, and that.
He was actually. I was there.
I've got trophies.
I was there. Do you remember the ceremony?
Funny story. Let's
keep it PG.
keep it
So when we're looking then, okay, we've talked about a little bit of then and now. I think there's a big difference with flag and tackle. And I know we talk a lot about tackle on this, but in flag, you're constantly just playing with any team you possibly can. Whereas tackle, the loyalty is, you know, for you, London Warriors through and through. You would never think about playing with another tackle team. But actually, flag is almost a necessity. I mean, you're someone that's played with the Atlantic Devils in Spain. You've played with the Rebels, you know,
Curry Bombers,
all of them.
The list go on. But I think the thing, when I play tackle, like with that particular team, if you have time to build the team and like you're going to war, like those game days, because it's like you're putting your body on the line for people, you're feeling it the next day. It's really like a battle, you know. So you do whatever, but like the collisions are real. Flag is a bit more of a light touch on that. It's not so much of a battle, a physical battle. So I think there are some, I mean, going right down to the chemistry, I think there are some chemical bonds that you build because of the mindset you have to put yourself in to function in those regards. And I think that may be why there's more of a closed village around tackle teams, whereas flag, for the most part, I mean, there are some teams and some individuals who are quite like, you know, you stay with us, we don't go. I won't name any names, no shade. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. But actually, where, you know, because there's different competitions, different leagues, different tournaments, there are a lot of opportunities to play for more teams. So I don't think it's as strict of a thing in flag. You know, I don't think it's felt as much.
Would you say it's beneficial for you to play with that many teams?
Oh, absolutely. Because, I mean, the number of different, for example, as a receiver, the number of different QBs I've played with, different playing styles, different play calling styles, different philosophies and schemes that they try to work and ways of working. I remember playing for the Wanderers. Oh my gosh, this is going back ways. One of the Flaggy New Years, you know.
Waldorf Wanderers, one of the biggest teams
you know,
in Germany.
But a very definitive style of play. It's long ball. Everything is like stretching the field vertically, you know.
Vertically.
Movement. Whereas, as you said, you mentioned playing with the Atlantic Devils, and it's the Spanish guys who are like 2 and 3 QB, like
Dink and
it's all
dunk
dink,
and,
you know,
yeah.
and catching the ball and making moves, where the jumpers don't really do that as much. But it's all, if you're able to like be open-minded when you go into it, it's all learning, you know, it's all, so yeah, I think.
So it's good training for you then, like,
Absolutely.
to have that.
And I would always, it's experiences, right? We talked about like sending the elevator back down, but like giving experiences as you go through, the more you can do that, the more people learn. And if you find those people who are able to take the gems from each and piece it together into something that makes sense, I think you really get the best of all those worlds there. Yeah.
So the Women's League is kicking off here in the UK in not too long now, only a few weeks. What are the chances you're going to come play a little flag with us?
I mean, I'll do it.
What do the people want?
I don't mind. I'll do it. If the people want it.
We need a vote. If you think that Yaz should be playing flag football,
I got them hips, you know.
I've got them hips.
you can play center.
I can't dip because my knees.
Yeah, no, don't worry about dipping. Don't worry about dipping. But with your height as well, like
Oh my
target.
gosh. Yeah, you can tight end, center, all
Talking
that.
of height, there was a girl on the Mexico team who was like
Anna. Yeah.
Right.
super tall
Yeah, she's great.
and so amazing. I looked at her, I was like, that's it. I'm going. This is
I'm
my
doing it. I'm
Olympic
doing
bid,
it.
guys. I was like, that's it. I was watching her play. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, I feel people are quite lithe and then shorter than me, like the players that I've met. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then I saw her, I was like, wow. Like, you've just flown the flag for all the tall girls out there, guys.
That is definitely the way forward, though. We talk about it all the time in terms of the kind of body type for a flag. It is tall, limmy people. I mean, you think about a flag pitch is only 70 by 25. So if you can take up half of that 25 with your wingspan.
Hate to
12
boast,
yard-
guys. I ran a
12
mile
yard
yesterday.
wing.
Yeah. Oh.
Say that again.
I ran a mile yesterday. guys.
Did ya? Get it, girl.
Yeah, it was only part of the workout.
Good.
It wasn't the whole thing.
We're gonna need a time on that. We're gonna need a time on that mile. So.
Hey, on a good day, I can run a mile in like 9.5 minutes.
Okay,
great.
On a good day.
Yeah.
When my
Smashing it.
knees aren't going.
Was yesterday a good day?
Yeah, it was. Until it started raining because we were on an outdoor track, so that's not it.
Fair,
No,
fair.
And then I
no.
was
Welcome to London. Welcome back home.
Thanks.
Well, we will have you guys vote. Let's see if we should get Yaz to play some flag football this season over in the UK. And coming up next, it's our 2-minute drill with our beautiful guests and hosts, Kenny and Yaz.
All right, 20 for 20.
Go.
Yes?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. First flag football rule you would abolish.
You can't run into people, no contact. Wear helmets.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Your walkout song.
Has to be Talking the Hardest by Gigs every time.
Anthem. Would you rather win by 50 or win on the last play?
Win on the last play. Legendary.
Favorite NFL mascot?
Unsure. We'd have to
Need
circle
an
back
answer.
to that one.
Yeah, got to push.
Probably Jags one because he does the most at the UK games.
Okay. Jackson DeVille, nice. Worst sports cliche?
It's 0-0. No, it's not.
Madden or FIFA?
Madden.
One coach you never want to be mic'd up next to?
Bill Belichick.
Interesting. Which presenter would last longest on The Survivor, me or Phoebe?
Phoebe.
Rude.
It wouldn't be you.
Favorite
sorry.
country you've played flag in? Have you ever played flag?
No.
What?
UK.
Hot weather or cold weather game?
Hot weather.
Most overrated NFL player right now?
Travis Kelce.
Say it with your chest, please.
Travis Kelce.
Flag football in 10 years. Olympic sport still or TikTok trend?
I would like to think it's an Olympic sport still, but I think TikTok trend.
Who's more likely to forget their cleats? Phoebe, Kenny or Yaz?
Kenny.
Shut up. Best snack at a flag tournament?
Probably frozen grapes.
Fourth and long. Go for it or punt?
Go for it.
Fourth and long.
I'm an O-lineman. Go
Okay.
for it. Run the ball.
What's the funniest trash talk you've ever heard?
Someone told me my butt looked good in my lowers, and I don't know what the intention of that was. It was in the women's game.
For clarity. NFL team you secretly support, but you don't admit in public.
Probably the Bengals.
Bengals. Ooh.
Yeah.
Who would you play in a Netflix series? Any Netflix series, who would you play? Which character?
I would be the main character of Orange is the New Black.
Nice. And finally, if What the Flag had a team mascot, what would it be?
Kenny.
I don't know how I feel about that last one.
It'd just be Kenny.
Well done. 2-minute drill.
Well, I hope that kept you guys entertained. It surely did myself. Thank you so much for tuning in to What the Flag podcast, again, brought to you with MVP Travel in mind. So we will see you next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. See ya.